This is a James Poe Artistry Consultant Moment. Good day, Perceptive Readers. This is James Lynch, and I want to talk about a commentary, one that I heard and my response to this commentary. The man who actually brought up a subject of the music industry and it was called The New Rule. Music materialism. And just by me giving you this title, then this way you can go ahead and do a search and find out the commentary from this man. Now, at first, I wasn't going to talk about this subject until this is what happened. As he was explaining, you see, what he's observed over the years, what his feeling is now with the music materialism. Instead of just saying music industry, now he's saying music materialism, getting very specific about how everything is promoted to buy stuff. And apparently, you can't feel good about yourself unless, you just got a lot of stuff you can buy. And he proved this point by naming the type of songs from the 60s and really before that too, you see. And now today, how he had a whole list of songs that all of them talk about, money. And one thing about, and buying things. And one thing about, money. See, I've talked about that subject in my, human writing, James Poe Artistry, human writing, striving for the, perfect natural paper, you see. So not knocking AI, but as you know, that's one thing I really encourage every human being to still develop their writing for the rest of their lives. And now, with that still being said, I did a series, a very brief, even on money, explaining clearly how it's not condemned by God and what we need money for. And of course, the economy runs on money. Now, if I may interject a thought as to why I still say, no, I'm going to comment on this, because one, some of the very thoughts that came to my mind as he was talking about it, actually had me think about, basically, my response is automatically. You see, I wasn't trying to think of a podcast. It's just that what he was saying, it was almost like my brain was automatically doing some type of rebuttal, in a sense, to explain the reason why the situation is like this. And I'm not just talking about spiritual. I'm literally talking about human nature and the social and economical state that we're in the first place. You see, social, your background, skin color, etc. And then you see what you were able to enjoy, allowed to enjoy through your work and things of that nature, and what you weren't able to enjoy. And you've heard me talk about this before. And yet, guess what? By the time he got around to the 5-minute mark of his commentary, he started going into what I was thinking about, and then even gave more examples. So I was saying to myself, see, we are on the same sheet of music on why people feel the way that they do and why they do what they do and things of that nature. Now, with that also being said, let me share something with you, because he made a clear statement about, and please pay very close attention to this. I hope you put this in your blogs, because this is the only thing I'm going to say about what this TV personality said. He made the point. And see, and let me tell you, I feel this so much, and it's one of those things that it just won't change my mind, because I say it again, sometimes you become an expert in topics and in subjects that you didn't even plan on becoming an expert in. So let me tell you this. He made this statement. We were okay with it. You know, he was talking about the older persons. He even made jokes about boomers and stuff like that. He said, we were okay with it until we weren't. Notice that? So talking about the music industry, music materialism, things of that nature. And he was saying, we were okay with it until we weren't. Okay. And then he also mentioned something about, yes, the money, see, the authority and the power is always in the older persons, you see, but yet they realize the younger generations, you know, in the 20s and things of that nature, they still, in a sense, run the world in a different type of arena, if you will. Some people call it a 3-ring circus, but I'm not getting into that. But the whole point is they have a power. And guess what that power also does? It also runs the economy. Now, I'm not going to get further into that either, because I still want to make my point about becoming an expert in something. See, let me tell you what I've noticed. And see, and this is getting personal, and I'm not changing my mind because many of you are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. See, there are some individuals that they've striven, and see, he talked about this briefly about, you know, talking about a certain, you know, background of people, that they strove hard. They really worked hard to do everything in an honest and upright way. And see, and sometimes what the motivation and incentive was, as far as from the persons who already had all these good things, already had these luxuries, already had these abilities to improve their family's health, to improve their education, all through money and stuff like that, it would always mostly be something like, well, you just keep on and look, and one day this is going to be yours. And you know, and some of them, many of them, I'm telling you, they really were well meaning. They actually thought that is exactly what was going to happen for this co-worker, for this person that was working for them, or what have you. It had every intention, you see. Yet one day you're going to have this and even more than what I have now because of the way you're helping me and going the extra mile in this way or that way. You know what I've noticed in some cases? And this is how you become an expert, especially if you were bullied. You know, persons have worked hard and they've done things like that, done whatever they were supposed to do. See, even those ones where they said, do whatever it takes. So in sometimes ways, they even compromise things they wouldn't have done. But people made it seem like it was okay or what have you. But all the same, when it finally came time for this is yours now, or you have the will, so to speak. You have the ship, so to speak, or what have you. Then guess what? The very leeway, see, the very freeness of speech and ability to exercise, you see, what they wanted to do to develop their business, to take what has been given to them and grow it in investments and stuff like that. All of a sudden then, the same opportunities, the same options are not around. Isn't that something? See, sometimes what even persons, and I use the term bullies, have done, and it was well planned, it was almost like they gather up everything in the way that they wanted to, that they needed it to make it, you see, lucrative and perfect. But then when it was time to really pass the helm on to somebody else, then all of a sudden they didn't get everything. You see what I'm talking about? So this is what I'm still mentioning about the music materialism. Now, the whole point is, music you see, there's always been some persons, outliers or what have you, that they just weren't mainstream. But if you went to those hole in the wall type clubs and stuff like that, especially even in the DC area of the United States of America, you can hear all sorts of stuff, even the stuff that was not mentioned in this New Rule music materialism commentary on the show. See, so the whole point is, how do you think you got what I call the hippie movement in the first place, that was still what, in the 60s and 70s and things of this nature? And I'm going to share something else with you. And I want to assure you, this is not an attack on boomers or anything. You see, nothing at all. But I'm going to tell you still what happened. In some cases, some of the very persons that were still doing that hippie movement, you see, in their young age, etc., etc. See, once they got that out their system, like Quakers, if you will, once they got that out their system and then wanted to settle down or whatever, some of them already then had a nest egg. See, already had it. Already had opportunities to do this or do that. And yet, all the same, even though they went on to, produce their own families, etc., etc., some of their still views and the way that they viewed this free society by osmosis, if you will, and directly taught, was still passed on to their children. And it's nice to know that these same persons did mature. But what I'm saying today is, instead of attacking the economy within itself, instead of attacking tools and just physical manifestations of what's on the person's hearts and minds, continue to use the arena of public ideas like this editor did here, like this commentator did here, to what? To address directly these persons' minds. And then, if they're not destroying something, if they're not destroying the economy, if they're not destroying other people's lives, as I mentioned before, you shouldn't be shutting them down in this way or that way. Because I do know there is going to come a time, and this is spiritual, where the spirit realm will totally take care of the things that we're not even supposed to take care of today, against ones who don't even care nothing about God. All we're supposed to do is still have a structure in place to what? Secure and protect, and especially ourselves first, and then also our community. And yes, some people may be materialistic or what have you. Well, guess what? That's just not in the music industry. That music industry is just a reflection of still what we run into every day on a grassroots level in the concrete jungle. And most likely it's seen in rural areas or what have you too. But I'm just saying in general, cities around the world, it is what it is in that case. So that's all I wanted to say. And also, this is probably the second or third time I've actually made comments on this person who is a proponent of freedom of speech. I've been able to watch a few or more of his shows over the years. It's not a regularly scheduled thing, but I have, paid attention at times to even some of his spiritual views. Okay. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Perceptive readers, you have a wonderful, wonderful day.